Star and Stripe has hit the My Hero Academia scene like no one we've ever seen before. With her quirk, New Rule, she has been called overpowered. Her quirk has been called the God Quirk, and she is apparently unstoppable. But this is a top 5, so we're going to debunk that. Now there are a few rules going on because we don't understand exactly what her quirk is. There's not enough information out there on Star and Stripe's quirk, but we do know a few things. First of all, the caveat is she has to touch her opponent or an object and know and say that object's name for her quirk to activate. Whatever she touches and says that name, she can invoke a new rule on that. Now, from what I understand, this new rule has to be within the bounds of reality. So that means she can't tell the person to disappear from existence, but she can stop that person's heart. So therefore, she is not above killing. This will be a one-touch kill type list. Now that you know the rules, let's get into it. Okay guys, before we get into this list, I'm going to say what I always say: get in that comment section. Tell me what you guys think about this list. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think that I'm right? Do you think that I'm wrong? And don't forget to subscribe to your boy. I pretty much know that this one's going to be controversial. Number 5, All Might. Quirk, one for all. Now I know before you stop the video, I know All Might is considered the strongest hero. All Might is considered the #1 hero in the entire world. When it comes to strength, speed, agility, tenacity, All Might is going to rank #1 in all aspects. When you have punches that can level city blocks, when you have punches that can stop missiles, when you have punches that can create literal tornadoes, you have to ask yourself, how can anyone beat All Might? We have to remember Star and Stripe's quirk. It is called New Rule. One touch plus knowing All Might's name, she can paralyze All Might. She can just literally kill him. So All Might has always been a brawler type fighter. Instead of being known for his dodging potential, he is more of a brawler. He is more of a bruiser. He is the type of hero who's going to overwhelm you with his speed and power. And we have seen All Might more than once get hit, more than once be bloodied, more than once opt to fight the opponent head on. And yes, that works well for most people, but that does not work well when the quirk can literally stop you with one touch. All Might more than likely wins this fight if he goes in and speed blitzes her and gets a one-hit KO, maybe. But if that doesn't happen, All Might loses 100% of the time. And the controversy continues because we go from the strongest hero to number 4, one of the weakest heroes. 13, Quirk, Black Hole. Now I understand that 13 is an assist type hero, but her quirk is strong as hell. You say, well Jeremy, how do we go from All Might to a person who got bodied by Kurogiri? Well, her quirk is called Black Hole, and what it does, it creates a vacuum that comes out of her fingers that is as strong as a black hole. It is so strong that at full power, light cannot escape from her quirk, just like a black hole. She has not used this quirk to its full capabilities, but at full power, there is nothing that Star and Stripe could do to escape from a literal black hole. Star and Stripe has to touch her opponent and know her name, but if you have suction that is as strong as a black hole, that even light, how fast light goes, can escape from it, 13 does actually have a chance in winning this fight if it is a death match fight. Most people wouldn't be able to beat her in a death match fight because black holes in themselves are overpowered. I rest my case. Number 3, Eraserhead. Quirk, Eraser. I know what you guys are thinking. He could have easily been number 1 in this list. His quirk works best on people who are not suspecting him to be in a fight or don't know what his quirk is. But if you're going into a 1v1 situation, Star and Stripe would know his quirk and know the flaws of his quirk. So if you don't know what his quirk is, it is called Eraser. If he looks at you, his hair is raised, that means your quirk is erased. That means you're basically a regular human with no quirk. But if you're going into a life or death situation, you're gonna know that. And once you see his hairs raised, his quirks being used, I mean, he is basically in every other aspect a regular human. He's gonna have to blink eventually. And we have seen people counter him. If they know what his quirk is, they know how it's used, he has been countered, he has been hurt, and he has been beaten before. So as strong as his quirk is, he doesn't have the physical strength in order to really kill somebody if they know that is coming. And once Star and Stripe gets one touch in, it's just a waiting game. Just stay away from him until you can use your quirk and talk, and then he's basically dead. Number 2, Lemillion. Quirk, permutation. If we're being serious and being honest with this list, he could have been number 1 easily. Lemillion is a strong hand-to-hand combat fighter. He is the number 1 student in UA, and has been said that if he became pro today, he will be one of the top pros right out of high school. Lemillion has perfect mastery over his quirk. People say that he has a downside because he feels the sensation of falling when he is letting something pass through him or going through the ground, but Lemillion has perfect, and I mean perfect, mastery of his quirk. He has such pinpoint precision when he's letting something go through him that he could punch towards somebody, they could try to block it, their hand fades through him, and he can have a part of his arm that is perfectly permutated, if that's a word, and then his fist be tangible, he could still hit you. If you look at the fight between him and Overhaul, which Overhaul is just trying to touch Lemillion. Lemillion was dominating Overhaul, and just like Star and Stripe, she needs to get one touch in. Her quirk works by getting one touch, but Lemillion is a fighter who, number 1, knows how to use quirk perfectly. So she would never physically touch him. Trying to take away the atmosphere wouldn't work. He would just phase through it. Anything that she would try to do by just saying would not work on him. It might be him winning 9 out of 10 battles. Lemillion could be number 1, and maybe, now I'm thinking about it, should be number 1. But the person that is number 1 is devastating in its own right, and is one of the strongest villains in My Hero Academia history. Number 1, Overhaul. Quirk, Overhaul. For some reason, I think Overhaul gets a bad rap, like he wasn't a strong villain. He faced Lemillion, who has permutation, who he just couldn't touch and didn't really understand how the quirk worked. And then he faced a 100% one for all that Deku was using, which was literally like the punches were blowing off limbs. Like, Overhaul is strong. Matter of fact, I would argue that he is probably, with his quirk, the strongest villain in My Hero Academia. His quirk, Overhaul, allows him to have complete control over matter. What does that mean? That he can deconstruct and reconstruct matter at his will, whatever he touches. So if he touches your body, he can literally splatter your blood and organs across the concrete, or he can regrow severed limbs and heal you completely. Overhaul can also do the same thing with his body. He can regrow limbs, regrow organs. Even though the pain might be there, he is essentially invincible as long as he is conscious, with both being very deadly. Star and Stripe has to touch him and say his name, and then she can, do whatever she will. But at the same time, if she gets touched by Overhaul, she is essentially dead. There's nothing that she can do. There's no rule. She can't talk fast enough for her organs not to get scrambled or her body to just explode into a billion pieces. Overhaul is so strong. He just happened to, at that day, face plot armor and some invincible quirks. If you don't know how strong Overhaul is, just go back and watch the fight where Overhaul versus Magni. He literally scratched the very surface of his forearm and the top of his body exploded. All right, guys, that is my top 5 people who can beat Star and Stripe. Tell me what you guys think about this list in the comments down below. Like I always say, get in that comment section. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe to your boy. Peace.